This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
How do you choose each other to be sponsor, sponsee? How do you know the person's right for you?
I think God just puts them in my life. You know, they just come to me, and when they come to me, they have sadness and pain in their eyes, and they're willing to do the work. They're willing to do what it takes to not just stay clean, but to recover from this disease.
Hi. For those of you who've been following our show, that was Joy Gallagher, the first guest we've had on our show. Anyway, she couldn't be here. We lost Joy a short time ago, but I'm so pleased that I have 6 of her sponsees, 6 people who owe everything to Joy, and we're going to try to put a positive spin in this show, but we miss her a lot, and we want everybody to know just what kind of person she was. So I'm going to introduce my guests. In the back row is Stacy, and Liz, and Dana, and Dolores, and Jen, and I'm sorry, what's your name? Colleen, I'm sorry. Guys, I appreciate you coming down, and I know it's not an easy thing, and I know the hurt that you guys have been going through and still are going through. But I'm going to start with you, Jen, because I know that you probably go back with Joy as long as anyone. How'd she become your sponsor?
Joy actually became my sponsor probably in the end of 2004. I was in a women's halfway house in this area, and I had seen her at meetings, and she was this loud, crazy lady. And the people at the house said to find a sponsor with someone that had something that you wanted. And at that time, I think I just identified with her because like I was really crazy and off the hook back then, because like that's when I was newly clean, and that's what I identified with. And I had like problems with authority figures still because I was young and in a lot of trouble. And I wouldn't even call her my sponsor, actually, probably for like the first 2 years. I called her my little friend. Yeah. It took me a while to even be able to call her my sponsor, but I had asked her to be my sponsor at the noontime meeting in Lawrence. And she had been my sponsor since then until the day that she died, and my only sponsor for almost 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
And it was actually a funny story, too, because at that time, my dad passed away right before I went to that house, and I was still like grieving my dad and stuff too. And come to find out, she went to high school with my dad. So
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, we came to figure that out after like a month or two. So I truly believe like she was put in my life at that time for the right reasons.
So it was really good timing.
Yeah.
Wow. Dolores, how did you hook up with Joy?
Well, 8 years ago, I had watched Joy for a long time, and I was like really hearing her story, and really seeking out for a sponsor. And I wanted somebody who had a story like mine, who was understanding and I could trust. And then she was at the Middlesex College, and I had asked her, could you be my sponsor? And she said, all you had to do was ask a long time ago, because I had kept calling her and was nervous to ask her to be my sponsor. But I wanted her to be my sponsor because I felt that she was the sponsor for me. Not only did I know Joy from being alone, I know Joy for 39 years. We came from the same background. And that's how she became my sponsor, and she was understanding. She was just like a mom that I never had, and I needed that mother figure in my life on top of being a sponsor, and somebody I could talk to about everything that I've gone through. And she was there no matter what. She didn't judge me. She knew my story, and She said absolutely, and when she stayed hours on the phone, I knew that she was the one.
Great.
She never hung up on me, and she was there. And when I was going through what I was going through, she'd get in her car, she'd be right there for all of us. And that's how she became my sponsor. And I love her.
Yeah, I bet.
And she's still my sponsor in spirit, too.
There you go. Carl, I pretty much know your story, but I'm sure the others don't.
Yeah, I didn't even. You're supposed to like ask someone to be a sponsor, and I didn't ask her. Like I called her and I said, "You need to be my sponsor," and and just like what these guys said, like it's just something that I felt like inside that I knew that this woman was supposed to help me, like save my life. I was able to get clean time, like here and there. I think I got the last time it was like 9 months, and I ended up relapsing, and it was the next day that I told a friend of mine, and then I had called Joy, and I said, I need you to be my sponsor. I need you to help me save my life. I remember exactly what I told her, and I knew it was supposed to be her because I was really like intimidated by her recovery. You know, like not that she was like scary, but she had a voice.
Yeah,
She
I
wasn't
know.
afraid to use it. She was very opinionated, but she was able to say what she had to say, like, and she'd do it in like a kind and caring way and with compassion, and she, you know, and like Dolores said, like she didn't judge, but she also didn't take any stuff from anybody either.
Almost, huh?
And I and I really respected that, and I just felt like I could tell her anything, and she'd just always be there like to listen, and if I didn't have anything in me like to say, I was just like hurting, then she always seemed to say the right thing every time. You know, she just had a gift for always like knowing what to say with whatever like issue I was having, problem, whether it was good or bad. She always knew like what to say to me just to kind of bring me back down where I was supposed to be.
Yeah,
So
I know.
I miss that.
I know you do.
You know.
Stacy,
I met Joy about almost 4 years ago. She wasn't my first sponsor. I was 3 months into my recovery, and she had spoken at a meeting that I was going through a very rough time with my mother, and another recovering addict said, if you don't know Joy, get to know Joy. And there was something about her, like they said, you know, her voice. She was loud, very opinionated, and that's who I am. So, you know, I just say it like it is. I shoot straight from the hip. And so I asked her, you know, I said, can I have your phone number? And she said, yeah. And she said, are you willing? And I was willing. I was willing. You know, it's my first time around. And, you know, she's just very hard, very hard.
I know.
Still, you know, still.
take a breath.
Yeah. She was like the mother I never had. You know, she was my mother in NA.
And it's funny you said you meant, because when she opened, one of the first questions I had asked her way back when, one of the questions she mentioned then is if they're willing.
Yes.
And if that was...
And that's what she instilled in me, and that's what I instill in my sponsees.
Good.
You know, you have to be willing. You have to show the willingness. They're not suggestions for our family. They're musts. You know, you must be willing, honest, open-minded, and you know, she's taken many, many, many deep, dark secrets with her. You know, trust. She was like one of the only ones that I could trust. And you know, in the beginning, you know, I had sponsee sisters, but we weren't really that close. You know what I mean? And you know, it stinks to say, but we have grown so much closer since her passing. I
Yeah,
mean, this is like
I've seen
unbreakable
that,
now, unbreakable. And even though we move on, we get new sponsors, we're going on with our lives, but we're always going to be Joy sponsees. You know.
We're going to skip Liz and go to Dana.
Met Joy in 2007, and like all the girls said, it was her love. She just had this overwhelming sense of welcome to any new person. I asked her, would you be my sponsor? And she put both of her hands on my cheeks and said, of course I will, honey. And it was, you know, she loved me until I could love myself. She respected me until I could respect myself. There was things that I thought she would run for the hills when I told her things that I did. But she just sucked it all in and loved me anyway. She just has that about her. Every meeting I went to, it was, yep, she's the one, she's the one, she's the one. It was just getting, because you have to ask them, and I hate asking for help. I still do. And it was like, took me 30 days just to ask her. And had I done it earlier, I probably could have started earlier, but you know, she was great. She was great. And every one of us has joy in us to be able to give to other people everything she gave to us.
Liz, now I know Joy was your sponsor the least amount of time because I was at you 1 year.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us how you and Joy started your bond?
I was still in a relapse when I met Joy. This is about 2.5 years ago. And I had been in the program for a short amount of time, so I knew what to do. So I did go up to her and I told her, I said, you know, like Colleen, I said, you have to be my sponsor, you know. Like, I knew you had to prove yourself, like I knew a little bit about the program. And she was alone, you know, and it felt like it wasn't that scary, you know, I could approach her. And so, I mean, I was still relapsed, and like when I finally decided I'm really gonna get clean, you know, I called her and I said, I'm like, because I had been talking to her answering machines, like even though I was still using, I was still trying to show some willingness, and just talking to her answering machines, like still just trying to tell her what's going on, you know. And then when I did get clean, she was there, and I said to her, I'm like, can you please tell me what to do? Just tell me what to do and I'll do it, anything you want me to do, you know. And so then and like I'd been talking to her on the phone more than anything. We had this huge phone relationship. So when I walked into a meeting while I was clean, I didn't even recognize her. So we kind of walked past each other and we're looking at each other like, are you? And I'm like, are you? You know, we had been talking on the phone for months. And like I didn't even recognize her, you know. And so like, and she used to do like these little things, you know. She invited me to like a couple of events, you know, and she'd come up to me and give me a little letter, and it just had something nice in it every time. It was like, we need you, you know, and it made me feel like I'm worth something, you know. And she gave me a lot of encouragement, and she was like that voice I could go to for like reason. So you know.
Yeah, and you know, I was fortunate. I got to know Joy real well because of Colleen, not because of any other reason other than during the first year of her recovery, I was your typical nutball parent. And Joy was the type of sponsor, well, Colleen would let me talk to Joy, and I'll tell you, Joy may have gotten through her some rough times, but let me tell you, she got me through some scary times too, because when you're a parent, you're always afraid what you guys are up to, and, you know, until we learn, you know, what's going on with you guys. And I'd call her up, and you're right, she'd talk, and she'd calm me down, and...
She still kept the, you know, like, she wouldn't, like stuff I told her in confidence.
No,
like obviously,
no,
like
no, she wouldn't do specific.
But she would ease your mind with, you know,
Right.
what I was doing.
Yep.
You know, that I was still clean, that I was still doing
Yep.
the work, that I was still going to
Right,
meetings.
so
and
she's doing
everything.
all the right things. And then
Yeah.
she'd just talk general with me just to ease my mind. And I have noticed, you did say you've become so much closer after Joy's passing as a, and I've noticed that, you know, because I went to Joy's service and you guys had that great celebration just last Sunday. And you can see that you are almost kind of, almost bound together. I mean, I know you guys were always close because I've seen Facebook and I see all the pictures. You got a million pictures on there, so I see them all. And what is the really big change in the closeness you've had since you lost Joy? I mean, what has really bound you even closer than what you were?
Because we understand each other. You know, we can feel each other's pain. Like we knew this person and we leaned on each other. You know, and that's what she would have wanted too.
Exactly.
For us to
We're her
lean on each
girls.
other, to bring us closer together. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
I think too, because like, we always went to her, and like when she was gone, like a lot of us were there like that night and the next day, and
Yeah.
and we all like, she was like, if something like that happened, like in any of our lives, like she would be the person that we went to. So like we all like stayed together and like held each other up like through that time. And even like the past 2 months, like we've all texted each other and like been there checking in on each other,
Right.
like she would have done.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. When Joy passed, I had a fear of how she was going to react, and I'm probably sure your parents and your loved ones all felt the same way. Gee, they don't have Joy now. What are they going to do? Are they going to do something crazy? And as a parent, I had those fears, and because I especially like I don't think I heard from you for a half a day, and naturally panic splits in. But I mean, you guys, I mean, let's put it this way. I know you guys went through a million different emotions, and I knew you were hanging close together. I know you went through the grief and some of the fears probably. Did you have any guilt? Did you have any anger? What kind of emotions just kind of went through you? Because here's a woman that you guys really put on a pretty high pedestal.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I felt guilt.
Who wants to tackle that one?
I felt guilt a little bit because I had spoken to her the Sunday before, which was Easter, and she wasn't picking up her phone, you know, and none of us had spoken to her. She wasn't picking up the phone. People have gone by, and, you know, she wasn't answering or anything, and it was just like, what if, you know? What if I went by there? What if I was there the night before? What if? And I had to come to the realization that everything happens for a reason, you know, and angry, there's a lot of anger, you know.
Still, or is it starting to?
It's starting to ease up a little bit, but it's still there, you know, it's still there because she was one that told us, you can get through anything.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can get through anything. You know, and we would say the same thing.
One of the like main things that, you know, I just remember always hearing her say like constant vigilance in your program, in your recovery, like, you know, don't use no matter what, the must, not the suggestions, like you're right, Stacy, like the must that we have to do. And the lesson that I learned in all of it is that it doesn't matter how much clean time you have. If you don't keep doing the same thing that you did today as the first day that you came in, we are not stronger than the disease of addiction, no matter who we are. And that was, you know, that was the cause of her death. Like, you know, she stopped doing those things. You know, what, you know, like why? Like I don't know. You know, like I wish I did. You know, there's so many questions that I just want like answered that I'll never know the answers to. I just have to, you know, ask my higher power just for some peace, like with all that, because I mean maybe I'm not supposed to know. I just know that like I have to keep doing, you know, the same things because I don't want that to be, you know, I don't want that to be me.
Right.
You know, like she stopped doing what she was doing. You know, she stopped going to me. She stopped doing all that, and that ended up with a relapse, and that ended up with her taking her life. You know, that's how she, you know, that's how her life ended.
Yeah.
And so yeah, guilt, anger. Guilt and anger. Sadness took, like, you know, it was sadness at first, but then the guilt and then anger just like took over, you know. And I'm still like, I still feel like, you know, like angry. I don't know if I'm angry at her, if I'm angry at the disease.
Well.
Confusion.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's overwhelming.
Well, yeah, someone that close. Jen, I know you and her go back a long way.
Yeah. Well, Colleen just said it, like, I'm still really angry too, but like I'm more angry like at this disease.
Good.
Because this disease wants us dead, like period, and it'll take us out any which way it can. And like there's no question in my mind that this was a direct result of the disease because like if she hadn't relapsed, like her mind wouldn't have went that far. Like she was feeling so much guilt that like she just couldn't live with herself anymore, and like that's like what I believe. And yeah, like I went through a lot of emotions. I still am, like, but like I have this ability to like shut things off, which really like isn't good, because like I know like I have to deal with stuff too, but like I like block it out and like I'm kind of like numb lately, because I just don't want to feel the feelings that I feel. But yeah, like at first like I was real angry like with her, but now like I know, like I've come to the realization that like this was a direct result of the disease, and like if we should be angry or if anyone should be angry at anyone, it's definitely the disease.
Well, and I want you guys to know by coming here, you are taking a very important step in fighting against a disease that we all know is deadly. Dolores, now I know you and her go back before she was clean and everything like that, so how are your emotions in that respect, like with Stacy and Jen and Colleen?
I'm really more sad than
Anger?
Than anger. Because I had talked to her, and then after we talked, she said, I'll call you right back. And then I tried to call, and I just felt something was wrong. I'm still, like, really sad. I got her picture, like, right near my dining table. When I sit there, I'm just, like, staring at it, like, you know. I feel like she's still here. I still cry, you know. I still feel emotionally sad, real sad, because of the fact that it's like I lost my best friend.
Yep.
You know, like, and not only my best friend, it's like, I mean, I would talk to her like night and day, no matter what I was going through, or what, as we all know, we check on her like she checks on us.
Right.
Like we always check on our sponsor just as well as she checks on us.
Yeah, she's mentioned that.
And it's like,
yeah.
I'm so, like, my phone stays by the bed, and I'm so used to, like, her calling me, and I call her, and then I talk to her about everything, because I go through some personal emotional feelings. And it's like, it took me time to even give somebody else that trust that she can give me the feedback that no matter what. And she always installed in me, like, you're a woman with dignity, hold your head up. Because when she had passed, honestly, I wanted to give up, because I'm like, I lost my best friend, and then I'm like, I wanted to give up. And I just had to think back, you know, if you give up, you know, this could be you in this same, you know, and then everybody will be around you, and I just had to keep up the faith and keep up the hope and keep the strength she always stalled in me. And I'm just still, like, sad. I'm still in that sad mode. And but when I look at her picture, and I start looking at the pictures that Jen puts up, and that I got in the house too, and I look at the pictures of the happy events, it puts a smile on my face and kind of takes me off that mode of
like
being sad.
Like Phil Leahy for state rep?
Yeah. Especially after 10 o'clock, because I love to talk on the phone, and I'm hearing her voice. And so it's like I still hear her voice. Like sometimes I find myself still calling her number. I do. I feel myself calling her number. And so I wasn't like more angry. I'm more like sad that she's gone. And but then somewhat I know she's here, because there's sometimes some things happen in my house and I'm like, stop it, Joy, because I know it's her.
Believe me, I know she's here.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at.
Dana, how about you, your emotions?
My first reaction was to try to protect her in some way from the backlash.
Oh, okay, I understand, yeah.
I didn't want to have anyone tell anybody that it was a relapse. She was depressed, she was this, she was that. But after a couple of days, the reality is that this disease kills. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care how many years clean you have. And that's the first thing we noticed about Joy was the isolation, the lack of meetings. And even when Colleen and Liz would say to me, something's not right, no, you know, I was in complete denial. I put her up on a pedestal, and that was my wrong, because we're all on an equal playing field when it comes to this disease. And I wanted to blame somebody, anybody, but the disease. And then it was the anger and the guilt and the if-onlys and if I should have. And when Colleen and Liz and I first got the news in her apartment hallway, we were like, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do now? And Liz was like, what do I do? And I said, you don't use. You don't use, you go to meetings, you ask for help, you bring it back to basics.
Wow.
And it's still tough. I still miss her.
You know?
I think what if I'm in any kind of situation, it's what would Joy do? What would she tell me to do? And she always had this book, and whenever I was going through something, all I had to do was call her, and she'd say, "Hang on, honey," and she'd flip a few pages and just read a line, and it just calmed me right down. Like, she just had that effect on me. And I have her texts on my phone, and I'll save them.
I just got our 2-minute warning. Believe it or not, half our show is over.
Well,
So we're going to be taking a little break. When we come back, Liz, I know you have an interesting story because I was at your 1-year celebration, which Joy was supposed to present. So I want to talk about that, and then for the rest of the half an hour, I want to talk about the party you guys had for Joy last week.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about some of the stories that I know you have about her that will bring a smile to your face. And I want to tell you how proud I am of all of you for not being afraid to tell about the emotions you feel, the anger, the fear, the sadness, the guilt. Because you want to know something? Welcome to the world of parents, because that's what we go through all the time, you know, with an active addict. So, folks, this is the end of part 1. You're going to be away for a month, but we're still going to be here. We'll see you for part 2. Talk to you in a while.
This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
How do you choose each other to be sponsor, sponsee? How do you know the person's right for you?
I think God just puts them in my life. You know, they just come to me, and when they come to me, they have sadness and pain in their eyes, and they're willing to do the work. They're willing to do what it takes to not just stay clean, but to recover from this disease.
Hi, and welcome back to the Empty Chair. This is part 2. For those of you who didn't see part 1, that was Joy Gallagher, who we're honoring tonight with a lot of her sponsees who she meant a great deal to. And we lost her a short time ago, but these people here are pretty much going to shed a new light on just how important she was. So I'm going to go the names again. This time I'll get them right. Stacy, Liz, Dana, Dolores, Jen, and Colleen. And when we left off the first episode, we were kind of just wrapping up on the emotions that you guys felt about the loss of Joy. And there were numerous, and I'm so glad you shared them with us. We didn't get to Liz, and Liz had kind of a special thing waiting for Joy because you were just getting ready to celebrate your 1 year. So how did that affect your 1 year celebration? Because I was at the 1 year celebration. It was almost a combination celebration and commencement for Joy. So what was going through your mind on that night?
Well, the actual night, it was pretty off. Like, I just wasn't even, like, there. It was, like, surreal. But, like, because I had waited so long. Even when I first met her, they always talk, like, about your year. Everything's great when you get your year, you know? And, like, even the first time I met her, it was like, I want this woman to present me, you know, with my medallion. And, like, I had this whole image in my head. Like, it was really hard to get to that goal, like, after she passed away. And, like, even when I confronted her about her addiction, and I felt really guilty about that, because like I know I was doing the next right thing, and the program teaches you, you know, that stuff. Like if you love somebody, like you'll try to help them, you know. But this disease, like I forgot, is so powerful, and so you know, and I had that huge guilt, even though I was doing the best that I could and was doing the next right thing. The guilt was that, like, maybe if I didn't confront her about, like, painkillers and what she was taking, you know, she told me she was, like, maybe she'd still be there, you know. And I said that on my celebration, you know. I didn't want to let go of, like, the fact that, like, she wasn't going to be able to be there and present me, because we went on, like, this long journey together.
Yeah.
So the week before, I wasn't even looking forward to getting my year. It was kind of just like really overwhelming. I was just really sad. Everything was just hitting me at all ends. And not until it reached 12 o'clock on April 25th, that's when I got my year. Like it reached like 11:30, 12 o'clock, that's when I realized I have a year. And I started kind of getting a little happy about it. You know, and everyone tells you like this should be an exciting moment in your life and stuff like that. And like, I didn't understand how it could possibly be, you know?
Pretty
like,
mixed emotions.
She was like my family. Like all these people are like my family, but she's like one of the first people I met. So it was like, she was like a mother figure, you know, and she was like a strong woman. And like, that's why I wanted her as my sponsor. And then I got to know her. So it really just, it was like devastating almost, because that never happened to me before.
Now, and again, I want to thank you all for expressing all your emotions, and I know it's not easy, you know, but I would have to say that with all the things Joy taught you, when she passed away, I mean, the lessons she taught you about to never let your guard down must have had quite an impact on all of you. I mean, you guys know that nobody's infallible. All right, so now we're going to get off all the negative stuff, okay? Why don't you tell us a little bit, and you can all jump in. I'm not going to go around the table on this. You were nice enough to invite me to a celebration of life for Joy Gallagher last Sunday, and it was pretty awesome. Tell us how that all came about. Whose idea was that, as if I didn't know?
That was actually her sister June's idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we were originally gonna do it like closer to her services, and everything was just so crazy because June and Dana and a bunch of people were packing up her house, and we had to rent the hall, but everybody had just so much stuff going on that I pretty much kind of like took that over for her sister, with the help of all these guys too coming early and helping us set it up, and that was actually Joy's original home group at St. Augustine's in Lawrence. So we picked that hall because that's where most of us had met her and went to meetings with her when we first came around. And they were nice enough to donate that hall to let us use it.
Well, I know I was there. It was a great time. It was good food, loud music, but that's okay. Stacy got carried away with desserts, I understand.
Yeah, there was a little
Cake
incident
in the
with
face.
cake smashed in my face.
Oh
Really,
my.
But it was kind of you know, like eye for an eye, I guess.
Okay.
Because I had gotten a cupcake smashed in my face by Stacy's significant other over there, no names, Renee. Thank you. So I made it a point that I was going to make sure that I got one of them, and I don't know, Stacy's face was just screaming, "Me,
You
please."
set me up.
Sure did. So I got her, and then she got me, and I got a whole bunch of water dumped on me from behind, and it just felt good to just laugh and have fun and just like let go.
Well, and I know I've been looking at all the pictures on Facebook, and I see all of you together. You're all in all the pictures and so many others that were there. And it looked like maybe for the first time that everybody just kind of took a and had a good time.
Yeah.
Because you sure look like you're having a good time.
Oh,
Yeah.
We did.
I liked it when everybody came together, you know, because Mama Terry and the family and all the sponsors. It was just like everybody coming together. I really enjoyed the fact, because I was all psyched up, like really, you know, like really psyched up. And just walking in the door to see everybody together again and having fun, the music, and everybody just sitting at the table,
Well, that's the
talking
thing.
to each other. It was
Yeah, the
Very
thing that
nice.
impressed me, it wasn't
Yeah.
like a memorial service. It
Yeah.
was really
Another
a celebration
gathering.
of her
Yeah.
life, and I thought that was,
Yeah.
like I say, the music was a little loud, but okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, I'm sure you guys all have Joy stories, because I've been telling you to think about them. What's something that, one of your fondest memories of Joy, do you think?
For Jen or just for any of us? or-
Anybody.
It's really nothing like it. I just remember like going like to meetings with her, and like there'd be like moments where we couldn't even like look at each other because we just couldn't stop laughing. Like she, if you know Joy, you know like this. She did like this baby voice, and she would do it, and we would just start like laughing. It was almost like I felt like I was like in church all over again with like inappropriate laughter, and you're not supposed to laugh, and it just makes you laugh like even more. And when she started laughing really hard, she'd start going like this, like that was gonna like stop the laughing somehow. And it just made her like laugh even more. And I don't know, like I don't remember ever feeling like that kind of like, well, joy or happiness or whatever, like when I was using, you know what I mean? Like because of her, like I was able to like enjoy my life. I was able to learn how to like laugh. I'd not have to be on anything at all and remember it the next day. You know, like going to convention and going to all these meetings and or even like going to friendlies like after me. But Joy liked being home. So most of my memories with Joy are at like her house. Lighting the candles, having meetings. Going over there and talking.
Well, yeah, Joy, I remember Joy did used to open up her house to all of you, because I remember you used to tell me that when you were still living at my house, actually, that all the girls were going over to have a step meeting or whatever over at Joy's.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you were all
We had an
participants in
open
that.
door policy at her house. She loved her cat, like her cat Smokey, like that was like her little son. So if you go over her house, eventually, like you're gonna see Smokey coming out, and I don't know. There's a lot. There's just like so. I just remember laughing a lot with her. Like we got down to like business, and we did our step work, and we did our meetings, and we did what we had to do. But there was definitely no shortage of.
Well, and again, if you look at all the pictures on Facebook and you see all of you guys there, a picture's worth 1,000 words. You can see the expressions of all of you. You guys here and so many others, that she played a part in. I mean, do you guys even know how many people she sponsored over a lifetime?
A lot. A lot. A lot. Well, it was 10 years.
Huh?
She was
Yeah.
10 years.
So
I also like the part when Halloween when she was dressed like Lucy. I start thinking about that, and me and Joy, and I remember we was cracking up. We was just rolling, laughing. And then the boat cruises, when she was on the boat cruises, it's just we had so much fun. She just
really. So
Joy was just like a lot of. She had the right name, Joy.
Yeah. So you mean
Yeah, that's always rolling.
addicts in recovery can actually have a good time?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Best time.
She could like
Gee.
definitely have her serious moments, like
Yeah.
Colleen said, but like she had like such an awesome sense of humor.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
did.
Like there's so many things at the beginning, when I first met her, actually maybe like 6 months into her sponsoring me, like we'd just be up like laughing on the phone
Yeah.
just about our past experiences that we kind of thought were funny, some of the situations we were in and everything like that, but as time went on and everything and she got close to my son, like she met my son, we went down there, we had bought her an elf hat on Christmas and like we had a little gift bag full of a bunch of Christmas stuff, like a little Snoopy candle, and like the elf hat with the ears, and like she put it on when we got there, and she was just using her baby voice, and like we took like pictures of her with the phone. It was just hilarious.
Well, let me ask, again, a general question, okay? Like I say, my experience the first year, I know I was a wreck, but did you guys go through times probably in your earliest recovery when you had to get to Joy, or Joy may have done something to, maybe you were thinking about picking up, and maybe there was something she said or whatever. Is there times that you think she actually stopped you from relapsing?
Yes. I know when I was going through a storm with my son. My son was living with me, and he's doing some spiritual things, and he I had thrown them out, and I wanted to give up and use, and she was there, right there, right there. And it just like took my whole way of thinking out of the way. And then after she did that, then we started cracking up in my living room. So, yeah.
So she wasn't just a sponsor you could talk to, she actually obviously made a huge impact
Yeah.
on not only your recovery. I mean, if Joy doesn't come into your lives, okay? Joy doesn't come into your lives, the six of you. Where do you think you are now?
I wouldn't be the woman I am today.
Me neither.
Definitely not.
Definitely
Honor,
not.
dignity, respect. Absolutely
It
not.
just turned out completely different.
Yeah.
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 It's funny too because we were at a meeting last week, and I don't know if it was at a meeting or at the Celebration of Life, but somebody had said that like all of our sponsees are here, and like all of us have a year or more, and like that goes to show like that
It works.
that it works, and like that she did help us like along our
Yeah.
way.
The best compliment I think I ever got was somebody heard me speak at a meeting, and they knew that I was one of Joy's sponsees because of the way that I shared, and that was like the best compliment anybody could ever give me. The fact that I wanted what she has, what she had, what she has. She still has it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was willing to do like anything to get it, and I did. And obviously, like I was able to to get some of that because somebody saw that in me. Like I reminded them of her by the way I was sharing. I definitely wouldn't have the passion for recovery that I have if it wasn't for her. Because that's what I remember a lot about her is that she loved her program. She loved her her meetings, and when she shared, she brought you back. It made me remember when our stories are different, but it's all about the feelings. She was able to express herself when she shared, so that no matter where you were in the room, you were going to listen. She got your attention, and she wasn't even trying to. She was just being herself. She just had that passion for recovery, and I wanted that. I wanted that, and I was willing to do whatever.
And
Okay,
she
now-
made me appreciate Narcotics Anonymous more.
Oh, I
even
bet.
more.
Now, obviously, she made you stronger people
Yes.
because she was your sponsor.
Yeah.
Since her passing, do you think you've become even stronger, or what?
I definitely believe it.
Anyone?
No, last weekend at the Celebration of Life, our grant sponsor, Terry she came and sat at the table and she was just talking about, she has a piece of Joy, she has a piece, and, we were talking about the open door policy. Well, that's me. That's, my wife and I, that's what we do. We are so empathetic with the the recovering addict, the newcomer,
Absolutely.
we just want to help, you know what I mean? And it's you need a place to stay, you come to the house. Within reason, we can't let, people using in the house, but.
Of course not. Yeah.
I don't know, it was just she's got one has a spirit, one has some of the heart, and it was just the way she said it was Joy is in all of you. Whether you believe it or not, Joy is in all of you. And it reflects on everybody. So.
Dana, you had probably one different emotion that none of the other girls had was about keeping it a secret and so forth like that. After her passing, do you feel you've become stronger now that you've...
I find that what I'm doing now in these past couple of months is everything she taught me. It's really strange. Sometimes I say words and I have to look around because I can't believe they came out of my mouth. Because she put that in me. It's just so much faith in me that I can be a woman of grace and dignity. I can, it just feels like I can do anything. That the boundaries that I never had before, that I find myself laying out right now. The honesty. Sometimes I feel like Jim Carrey in Liar, Liar. I say something and I have to cover my mouth, and I'm wow. But it's all good, in a good way.
Yeah.
She's just amazing. She's just amazing.
Well, like I say, I had the opportunity to see Joy a few times. I remember you had a pool party over the house one time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Were you in there? Yeah.
Yeah.
We had
I want to
all-
get pictures of that.
Yeah.
had
And
a ball
I
that
remember
day.
Joy was there on that
Yeah.
one. You had a gang there.
Yeah.
And And I'm glad that you guys do reflect on times like that, the cruises you had, the celebration of life, the time over my house, which I thought was a riot. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, a majority of the time that, like, most of us, whether it was like, you know, like 10 years or 5 years or however long that Joy was in our lives, a majority of it was that, like, happy, joyous, and free, and in recovery, and just, like, doing her thing, and, you know, the baby voice and the laughing, and just all the things that, like, remind us of her. Like, that's who she was. We didn't, you know, or for me, I'll just speak for myself, like, I didn't get to know Joy's disease because it was only at the very, very, very
Yeah.
end of her life. I mean, everything, like, before that, like, she had her using days before, but, like, when she came into recovery, and, you know, she came into my life in, like, 2007, 2008, like, around that, and, you know, up until April 4th, maybe a little bit, you know, before that, that's all I knew of Joy was just, like, you know, my sponsor.
Yeah.
You know, my sponsor, the one who's always there. And I'm grateful for her because of her. Like, you know, I have all these guys in my life. Like, me and Dana are, like, really, really, like, close now. And it just feels like, it feels good. Like, her legacy is definitely that of helping women in recovery, whether she's still here or not.
well, and actually she is, because you guys all sponsor people. And the lessons you learned from sponsoring, we know where you got them from.
Yep.
So, you know, I'm hoping and I'm sure that as time passes, you know, maybe a year from now, when you do think of Joy, it will be nothing but the positive things that she made out of you guys.
Yeah.
And it is. She had such a positive impact on not just you, but countless other sponsees. And you guys, yeah.
What's so amazing about this is, like, 39 years ago, like, in Boston, I knew Joy, and then it's just funny how God works. And he put her in my life years later, and I'm like, wow. And I talked about that with her. And it's like, I love the fact of the relationship we all have.
Yeah.
Because we text each other all the time. I love you, give each other shout outs. Even Renee gives shout outs. She's family too, whether she knows it or not. But, you know, give shout outs. Also, we did something at Mama Terry's celebration, a slideshow of her. So that has people a little emotional. But we just love her, and
Well, you
we're
know,
grateful for
Speaking of
what she
Terry,
brought us.
someday we got to drag her onto the show.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Someday we got to get her,
Definitely. She's
because
a
she was
character.
Joy's sponsor.
Yeah.
She's a
Yeah.
character.
Just tell her they'll be dancing here, and she'll be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do you guys have any parting things that you really want to talk about Joy? Something that, anything, you know, not just how you felt about her, because we all know that, but I mean, because of her, you're what?
Alive.
Yeah. I, like, can love myself today. Like, she had this, like, huge ability to be able to, like, I don't know, like, see your soul. It's weird. Like, to see your personality. You know, like, she had a lot of compassion and care, but she could see right through you.
Yeah.
So I remember, I'd be mad and I'd try to pretend I wasn't. And she'd be like, I know you're mad, you know, and it's like, just stuff like that. And, like, I take that stuff with me, you know, and especially loving myself and to be able to love others. Like, that was a huge thing for me. Because I came in, I was, like, beaten down, you know, like, beaten down to the ground. And, like, she, like, lifted me up and taught me how to love myself. She had me go in the mirror every morning and say, like, I love myself today, you know, every single morning. You know, and, like, just stuff like that where it was like, wow, that it hits you later.
Now, you're probably not doing it, maybe you are, but do all of you guys sponsor other people?
I do.
How many of you guys each carrying now, do you?
I have one.
You got one? One?
Two.
Two?
None right now.
None right now?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No.
I was sponsoring somebody, but they stopped calling.
Yeah.
You know, it's a disease.
You know, when Joy did our first show, it was on the sponsorship family, and we used to, and I asked her back then how she felt when one of her sponsees relapse. She lost them, so to speak, when they didn't make it.
That was actually a good subject because she was like very protective of all of us.
I was going to say that.
Like we were her girls,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
we
that was her
actually-
word.
Yeah.
Your girls, yeah.
We were her girls, and
Yeah.
You could not say nothing
we
about
actually
us.
just gave the name the Soprano family.
Yeah.
Maybe like a couple months ago, and we gave her the name Tony Soprano. And that was actually the last time that I had seen her. I was at that Thursday night meeting in Lowell when we were talking about the Sopranos, and we were doing the baby voice, like Colleen said. Like we had formed that actually at a camp out like in 2005. We were up till like 4 in the morning, and we were like so delirious. And she actually was so tired that's how she sounded. And I was like, oh my God, you sound like you're like 2. So like, that like stuck with us for like years. And like she'd be like, Cobbles, my little Jen Jen. And the last time I seen her was at that Thursday night meeting in Lowell, and we were talking about the Soprano family and like her girls, and we were screaming outside, boo boo, we love you.
And you could not say nothing about her girls, and especially when one of us celebrates, she gets more excited than us.
Yeah. Because I've been to a couple,
Yeah.
and I've been to a couple of Joys, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could see her. I mean, when she saw you guys there, she's looking at, something that she helped accomplish.
Yeah.
A good thing that she did.
Yes, and she did it.
And yeah, and you could and I could understand when she had her failures, the heartbreak that she had.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, because I know you had a couple of sponsees who were failures, and that was back when you still were living with us, and you'd come home and you'd be a mess, and I'd call Joy.
Yeah.
I'd say, "What's wrong with her?" I was, I probably called her almost as much as you guys, because she did have a way to calm you.
Yeah.
My mom called her too.
Huh?
My mom called her too.
Oh, I'm sure she did. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
wife used to call her on me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she'd rat me out. She'd be
Oh,
like,
my.
I don't know what to do with her.
Yeah.
And then
she
Joy
would
would
even
get on
talk
the
to my,
phone and be like, Princess, what are you doing?
Yeah, and she'd probably.
She would even go by my work and like she'd visit me there and
Yeah.
she'd talk to my boss Rosa and like she got her pulled aside for a second. Yeah, right. It was probably like a good half hour. I tried to like warn her. I'm like, you're probably gonna be over there for a little while. And it was like a half hour that they were talking. And that's what she did. The celebrations and stuff that a lot of people saw, but like Joy did a lot of like.
Behind the scenes.
Loving people and compassion and helping out like behind the scenes, like
Yeah.
all the people that she talked to that didn't, go to like a million meetings or went to different areas or different states or whatever, like animals, like she helped like animals and shelters and just like the woman's heart was just, it wouldn't even fit in this in the
just so
studio.
high.
It was
Well, and that's the
so
whole thing. I know she had an impact on you,
Yes.
but like you said, with me, with your mom, because us parents go through some pretty scary times,
Yeah.
and we need reassurance. And when you guys give us reassurance, we're not going to believe you anyway.
Yeah.
All right? So Joy would tell us, we'd believe her.
Yeah.
You tell us, we're not going to believe you. Isn't that awful?
honest.
So I do know the impact she had on you, on me, your mother, and countless other sponsees she's
You
had.
need a lot more couches to fit like
Oh
all
yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely. And again, I know that, she talked to the parents, and she would.
Yeah.
Guys,
2 minutes.
we got 2 minutes, yeah. I get this. I want to tell you, if Joy is listening, and I'm sure she is,
Yes, she is.
and if she was here, it would probably be longer than an hour show anyway. You guys wouldn't get to talk.
She needs that tape.
But I am so happy that all of you came down here. I know how close you all are, and I know the tough emotional time that this has been and still is. But I'm so glad that you came and you shared, and I think you're going to help a lot of people who watch this, and I hope it helps you guys maybe, to kind of clear up things a little bit more too, to come out and speak about how you feel, the emotions, which is not always easy to speak about your emotions. I know you guys are good at it, but I just want to thank you all for coming. You did a great job, and I think you gave a great testimony to a woman who saved a lot of lives. Mm-hmm. So thanks again, and we're going to be leaving now. This is the end of our show. I hope you catch both episodes. And these girls were great, and we lost a real warrior against the war on drugs. So we'll see you next month, and keep joy in your hearts. Bye.